at an abandoned preschool in the middle of the night in a stranger's car who may or may not have been the leader of the Black-Eyed Children cult. Hello, my loves. Today I am back with another storytime video. And this is not just any storytime video. I have wanted to tell you guys this story for so insanely long. And the reason that I didn't was because when it initially happened, I was talking to one of my YouTube friends and they told me this is really weird because I have a story kind of in a similar genre. And this was like half a year ago when we talked about this and we were like, yeah, we'll collab, like it'll be a storytime collab, you know what I mean? And it just, the timing has never worked out. And I told them the other day because I wound up seeing something, and I'll explain, that reminded me of this story. I was like, I can't wait anymore. I have to tell this story to the world. Everyone has to know. This is, I think, the strangest thing that's ever happened to me. I feel like that's a bit of a stretch because a lot of weird things happen to me all of the time. But this one just takes the cake for really weird crap. Before we get into the video, welcome back to my channel. By the way, if you are a familiar watcher of this channel, and if you're new, then hi, welcome. I never really wear hats, so this is something that you will probably never see again, but I don't know, I've had this for like half a year and I never wore it, so I thought I should. Also, I smell really delicious because I sprayed the new Daisy Kiss. This is the Daisy Oh So Fresh from Marc Jacobs Kiss edition. And I think that they released all of these for Valentine's Day or something. I saw it on Sephora and I bought it blind because I love Daisy so much. I smell like heaven, you guys. It smells like Daisy with like roses and florals mixed into it, and I love it so much. I just thought I'd mention it. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get into the story. By the way, I already told this once and I just decided to refilm it because I was so all over the place and I was doing such a bad job of explaining this. And this is not a story where I can like half-ass it, you know what I mean? Like I have to give you every detail play by play because it's a wild ride from beginning to end. Well, maybe it's not that wild in the beginning. Where this starts out is Los Angeles. Sometime last year, I was in LA with a really good friend of mine. And it was their first time to LA, so I was there for an event and we decided to stay an extra couple of days and just hang out, and they wanted to explore LA because once again, like they had never been there, and LA is a really cool place to go, especially if you've never been there before. So we wound up getting like a really nice hotel, and it was one of those like kind of extended stays where there was like a kitchen and stuff like that, so that we were eating out all the time, and it was in a really kind of quiet part of Los Angeles. No part of Los Angeles is quiet, but like it wasn't downtown, it wasn't in like Santa Monica or something like that. So we were able to like go shopping, like go to the movies and stuff like that without too much traffic or too much hassle. And there was a mall somewhat close to where we were staying. And basically one night we decided to have like a little BFF date night. We went to Cheesecake Factory. I got the veggie burger. The veggie burger is always so good there. And afterwards we decided to go and see The Boy because The Boy was currently in theaters. And that's what reminded me of this story, was because I rewatched it with my brother and my best friend. And I was like, how can I not tell this to the internet right now? So we went to go see The Boy in theaters. And if you've never seen the movie, number one, it's one of my favorite horror movies. I actually think it's a really good one and you should watch it if you haven't. But it was obviously like a scary movie. We're in the theater. It's relatively empty, but there's like some teenage kids, just other people in the theater. And there's this older man, and I should really quickly mention that I don't go to theaters very often. I do have a really terrible fear of them. They give me a lot of anxiety, and it's because of the shooting that happened, oh my god, how long ago was that now? Like a few years ago when the Batman film came out. It gives me a lot of anxiety. I freak out the entire time. I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable. And so I was already a little bit nervous. During the movie, I noticed this man. And my friend and I were sitting in the middle of the theater, in like the middle of the middle row in the theater, and no one was sitting around us. I mean, people were like behind us, people were a few rows over, whatever. This man was noticeable because he was in the row in front of us and off to the right. And so I just noticed him. I didn't think anything of it. And during the movie, he just really started to creep me out. And keep in mind, I was on edge already. If someone would cough, he would like literally whip around in his chair and like glare at them, you know what I mean? Like at one point, something in the movie completely ridiculous happened with the boy doll or whatever it was. It was weird, it was unbelievable. Like the group of teenage kids in front of him started laughing. Just like not super loud, not like chatting the entire movie, just like chuckled. And you would have thought that like they killed his firstborn son. He literally like shushed them and like was so angry and just kept like whipping around and glaring at everyone for the tiniest little things. And the entire movie was just stone-faced at the screen. And I remember at one point I sneezed and he gave me like the "you're gonna die in 7 days" look. I don't know. He was pissed. So he creeped me out the entire movie. Couldn't really focus, but I still enjoyed the movie. And when it was over, my friend and I wound up going back over to the Cheesecake Factory because it was like basically a mall, and we had gone to the movie theater in the mall, and we went back to the Cheesecake Factory and called an Uber. We were just sitting at these chairs outside of the Cheesecake Factory waiting for our Uber to pull up. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And the thing with Uber is you can see license plates like on the app. So I always just keep an eye out for like the letters on the license plate, the first whatever, like 3, 4. And so I hadn't seen our car pulled up, but I got a call on my phone and it was from my Uber. And he said, "Hey, I'm here. I'm outside. I have my blinkers on." And as he said that, a car pulled up and turned their blinkers on. It was like a little black sedan. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, I see you." And so I hung up, I walked up to the car, and when I get into Ubers, I always say Uber for Loey, or I ask Uber for Loey, because I've gotten into the wrong Uber before. I've had Ubers taken before. It's like a whole ordeal when it happens. It's really stressful. And so I asked Uber for Loey. And the guy was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm your Uber. Hey, what's up?" And it was like this young, like, totally normal looking dude with like dark hair, and he looked normal. I don't know what to say. And so I got into the car, my friend and I got in, and as we were pulling out of the parking lot, by the way, we were going to Target to go and grab like necessities. I think my period started that night, so I needed tampons, and we needed like snack food and stuff like that for the hotel that night. And as we're driving away out of the parking lot, I see the man who was sitting in front of us in the movie theater, and he's standing outside of the like Cheesecake Factory, and he's waving his hands, and that's when I noticed he's like flipping us off. I'm not gonna do that, but like he was flipping us off as we drove away, and I'm just like, "Do you see this?" to my friend. I just like grabbed my friend and I was literally like, "Do you see this right now? This is insane." My friend was like, "Yeah, like he was creepy the entire freaking movie." And that was when we wound up like explaining the situation, because I think it's like rude to talk about, I don't know, things like that in front of other people and not explain. I don't know, I'm weird. So yeah, we wound up explaining the whole thing to our Uber driver, and he's like, "That's crazy, but how was the movie?" You know, we started like small talking back and forth, and we told him, you know, it was good. It had a weird twist at the end, kind of interesting. And that kind of like, it wound up just naturally segueing off into creepy things, paranormal things, aliens, just like we were having a really long conversation. And it really wasn't that long that we were in the car. I would say like 15 minutes total. The entire time we're just talking, he seems totally 100% normal, and it's just the most casual thing on planet Earth. Like, I don't know how to express to you fully that this seemed so normal. And so I wasn't looking at my phone. A lot of times I have my phone on Do Not Disturb just because iPhone batteries suck. So you have to pretty much preserve them in any way that you can. You guys probably feel me. So I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. It was in my purse. I wasn't even looking at it. I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't worried about the drive or the route he was taking or anything like that. And so we wind up talking about all of this paranormal stuff, all of this creepy stuff, because that's what I live for, you know what I mean? I love being scared. I love talking about like paranormal and creepy things. It all interests me so, so, so much. So we're driving, and I see the Target. Basically we passed the exit with a Target on it, and I didn't know if that's the one that we were going to. I wasn't paying attention, like I said. But I see him pass the exit. And he immediately takes the following exit, our driver does. I don't point it out or anything like that. He just immediately takes the following exit. And I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm thinking maybe he missed his turn or something like that. And he turns left at the light, but he doesn't get back onto the highway. He turns down a street. I should also mention it's literally midnight. It is so late at night. There aren't many cars on the road. And he turns down a street, and I kid you not, you guys, pulls up to this decrepit. If anybody was still learning at this school, I pray for their souls, because I literally think that Satan himself worked there. It was this, what looked to be abandoned, like preschool. because there were like learning blocks as the sign and things like that, and it was like really colorful, but the place was falling apart. And it was kind of strange because the houses around it didn't look like dingy or anything like that. And then there was just like this abandoned like daycare or preschool or wherever the heck that we were. And I was like really creeped out by it. And I'm looking over at this place like, what the heck, where are we? Because he stopped basically at the house, literally like parallel across the street from that. He's just stopped there. He's like, okay, we're here. And I look at my best friend and I'm like, I don't know if the GPS took you to the right place. I was going to Target. And all the while, I'm staring at this broken down, falling apart preschool. It's completely pitch black, by the way. There's one light on in the parking lot and it's flickering the entire time that we're sitting there. I literally thought I was going to die. And the Uber driver turns around and he asks, "Are you not Ben?" And I'm like, no, I'm not Ben. And that's when I checked my phone and realized I had a million freaking missed calls from my Uber. I had gotten into the wrong car. Now this guy was an Uber, he was running Uber the entire time, but we were not the right people. Basically, we weren't like the people that were supposed to get in his car. He was the wrong driver. Before we move on, I know that I said that my Uber had called me and said that his lights were blinking, he was there. I'm assuming he was in the wrong location because I cannot explain to you why I saw this one car with the lights blinking. It still makes no sense to me. The entire thing is so weird. The number that I had the missed calls from was the same number that had called me and said like, hey, I'm outside with my blinkers on, so yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. So basically he had done that entire 15-minute drive and we had been so lost in our conversation that none of us had noticed like, oh, this isn't the right freaking car. So what I wound up putting together was probably that the old man that was in the theater that like flipped us off as we drove away, probably thought that we stole his Uber on purpose or something like that, like thought we were hoodlums. I'm assuming that was Ben because nothing else really makes sense. And so that was just what I put like together in my head, and I wound up telling my Uber driver, sorry, I saw my cat out of the corner of my eye and I literally almost just jumped out of my own skin. So that's what I told the Uber. I was like, I bet that was him. You know, this is so sad. Like, I'm so sorry. I hope that this is, you know, not a huge deal for you. I can tip you. I felt terrible for wasting like 20 minutes of this guy's time. And he was like, no, it's not a big deal. It's no worries. Like, I've got this. So he says he'll just be a minute while he fixes this on his phone and then he'll take us to Target. And I'm like, all right, cool. Just let me know when you're ready and I'll ping you on the Uber app and you can take me and my friend to Target. He asked us if we had ever heard of black-eyed children. And this seemed like a totally normal, natural segue because again, we had been talking about aliens and paranormal stuff the entire time in the car. Mind you, the entire time, this guy is really intrigued by this stuff, but he's also been super skeptic. Like, I don't know if I believe in ghosts, I don't know if I believe in aliens, but you know, we're having a good conversation. Need a coffee break. So when he asks if we've ever heard of black-eyed children, it seems totally normal. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, because I had literally just watched Shane Dawson make a video on them. And my friend is like, I've never heard of black-eyed children. What are those? And I wind up explaining to him like it's this whole phenomenon. It's like this urban legend where apparently you see a child and they have all black eyes. And basically like the whole thing is that they're gonna ask you for something. They're gonna ask you to use your phone or for a glass of water or something. And you have to tell them no because no one knows what happens if you say yes. And as I'm literally saying this, our Uber driver stops what he's doing on his phone, turns around in his seat, stares at us like completely not smiling anymore, not laughing, like his mood completely 180'd from what it was. And it's like, first off, black-eyed children are not children. They're something else. They're not human. And that's what he said, but he sounded like livid that I had gotten it wrong, I guess. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know. I don't know that much about them, I guess. And I'm just like taking it really lightly because, you know, whatever. And my friend, being who he is and never taking anything seriously, was just like, oh, like, do you know a lot about them? Have you done a lot of research? And the guy turns around in his seat and goes back to like doing the thing on his phone. And without even looking up, without looking at us, anything, said, I met one once. And my friend is like, no way, like that's so creepy. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there, sitting next to this broken down, creepy, falling to the ground, abandoned, probably haunted preschool, daycare, whatever the heck it was, just thinking that the entire situation had gotten a little bit weird. And that was when he wound up finishing up what he was doing on his phone. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you want to just ping me really quick? And then, you know, we can do the drive to Target. And he was like, no, I'll just drive you there. And literally starts driving. Now, that's not safe because number one, he can literally like run off with us. We're not on the Uber app. He's not like running his time. You know what I mean? There's no tracing us. Not safe. So that really freaked me out. And just like his entire demeanor changing like that, I don't know if he was trying to scare us, whatever, he really freaked me out. And so I was just like, no, just like ping me on the app, like it's all good, I don't want you not to get paid. And he was like, don't worry about it, I got you guys. But he was really like stone-faced now, like he had been laughing and smiling and just like cutting up with us the entire ride, and now he was just like really, he seemed just really different. The drive to Target doesn't take very long, but the entire time I'm just freaking out because I'm thinking this is not safe. Literally, we're in a stranger's car. It's different when you have the Uber app running because then if something happens to you, like there's a record of it, you know what I mean? This guy was never our Uber. There's no record that he even had us at any point. You get what I'm saying? And so if something happened to us, no one would even know where we were because literally it was like we were getting into a stranger's car. As we're getting closer, and he's silent the entire drive, again, completely different from the way that he was. And as we get kind of close to Target, he kind of like glances at us in the rearview mirror and says, I haven't been totally honest with you guys. And I don't even know what to say. But my friend is like, okay, what's up? This is like while he's pulling into the Target parking lot, by the way. Like, we're safe, we're in the clear, you know what I mean? Like, we're in a nice lit parking lot and we're where we needed to go, and then from there we can call another Uber. So the guy parks outside of the, like comes to a stop outside of the Target, turns around and says, I knew you guys weren't my Uber passengers, I just wanted to show you something. I just wanted to show you something. Can't talk. Literally about to put my pants, like literally want to jump out of the car. But I'm like, you knew that we weren't your Uber passengers, like, what are you talking about? What did you want to show us? And he just shook his head, like, so casually, and was like, it's all good, never mind. I wanted to show you guys something, but never mind. And I was like, okay, thank you so much for taking us, you know, we really appreciate it. And I literally, like, start to open the door, and it's locked. Like, he has like the child-proof locks on in the back seat. And he turns around and he like unlocks it for us. He didn't like keep us in the car or anything, but it just like freaked me out for about 2 seconds. And when we get out of the car, he sits there and just like doesn't drive off, doesn't say anything, just stares at us while we're outside of his Uber. And my best friend and I go into Target, and once we're inside of the building, he drives away. And I almost think like maybe, I don't know, maybe I've like misunderstood this guy. Maybe he was just being nice, making sure we got inside. And while we're like making our Target run, my friend and I are just talking about how weird the whole situation is. Like, what the heck was that? Like, I can't explain any of this. I mean, the entire thing was so strange. And the guy like knew we weren't his passengers. So why would he even do that and like not get paid? You know what I mean? And I mean, I had even offered to tip him and stuff like that. And then he was so creepy at the end, I just like jumped out of his car. But he didn't even want to get paid for like taking us from the creepy, decrepit building to Target. And so my friend and I are just talking about how weird it is, how creepy it is, blah, blah, blah. We get what we need. And as we're leaving the Target, I ping another Uber. And lo and behold, somebody pulls up in a little black sedan. And I'm thinking, this is just my freaking luck that it is the guy again. He waves us down, and I'm just thinking, I don't think that I want to get into this guy's car. Like, this creeps me out. And my friend just like, he doesn't, I don't know. I feel like I'm paranoid about everything. I'm anxious about everything. And he's just not that way. So we wound up walking up to the car and opening the door, and he's like, hey man, are you our Uber? Like, small world. And the guy says, brace yourselves. No. I just thought you guys might need a ride back to your hotel. And I was like, did you wait for us? The entire time that we were inside of that Target, you waited out here? And he was like, yeah. And I just, no thank you. So we literally told him like, oh man, thanks, but like we just called an Uber, sorry. And luckily right around them was when my Uber pulled up. So we got into the car and we drove off. But like the entire thing was so freaking weird. And I have yet to decide if that dude was like part of like a black-eyed children cult or something like that. Or like if he was just really trying to scare the living crap out of my friend and I. It was just bizarre. It was literally so creepy, so weird. I can't explain any of it, and it's wild, you get what I mean? Like there's no explaining any of that away. So it's still like, it really still blows my mind that it even happened and how unsafe the whole thing was and how creepy it was, but like, we were just at an abandoned preschool in the middle of the night in a stranger's car who may or may not have been the leader of the black-eyed children cult. That's my story, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I put out new story times and videos every single week. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Until then, I hope you have a great day. I love you. Don't get hunted down by cult leaders or black-eyed children. Okay? Bye.